and welcome to this week's edition of the Squawka Talker podcast. And with the Premier League action now back on track for the final stretch of the season, so too is the Champions League. Yes, it is business time across Europe as the great and good from across the continent do battle in the last 16. Mo, we're going to go with you first. Sporting Lisbon against Manchester City. City, red hot favourites going into the last 16, not just to get past Sporting, but to probably go on and win the competition. But it's not all rosy in the garden, particularly in their own 18-yard box for City in the Champions League so far this season. So my kind of inevitable here is that City defensively are likely to concede a goal. Looking at the numbers, they conceded 10 goals in the group stages. That's the second worst of any team in the last 16, with ironically Sporting bottom on 12. XG, as in goals against for City in the groups, 5.5, which is just under a goal per game. Fifth best in the last 16 sides. So that kind of hints that they don't give up a lot of chances, but the chances that they do give up, they tend to concede from. No penalties conceded and just one own goal. That was poor old John Stones who popped one past Edison. One of the other issues probably is in terms of lineups. They've only been able to play Walker, Diaz, Laporte and Cancelo in half of the group games. Walker is banned for this one and there's potential injury doubts over Aymeric Laporte. Domestically, tells a similar story, just 2 clean sheets from the last 6 domestic games in 2020 and 6 clean sheets in 17 games away from home in all competitions this season. And then little shout out to Sporting, 7th on the goals scored list from the groups, 14 from 6 games, XG of 10, so that's around 2 goals per game. And at home, they never fail to miss the target. They've scored in every home game this season. Manchester City are more than likely going to have enough to power on in this tie, but they do have to be careful.
They do have to be careful. I think Sporting will score. I think that the numbers suggest that City have not been very good defensively in the Champions League. However, City are also extremely dominant. Then this is my prediction for City. The one thing that's going to happen is they're going to have over 500 passes. Okay, every game they've played, they've had over 50% possession, right? And they've had over 500 passes. The only game they didn't, was the first match week. The first game they had 468 against Leipzig in game match week 1, match day 1, I think as they call it. Every other game, over 500 passes. I think that's for definite what's going to happen is they'll rack up over 500 passes. They'll dominate the ball. I think they'll win too, but that's a boring prediction just to say they'll win because it's like, of course they will. I think they'll rack up over 500 passes. They're a sensational side. What's interesting this is why we always say almost making predictions in December is a bit of a fool's game because the game for teams change so much from the end of the group stage to now. City went on that 12-match winning run, which is just ridiculous. They built a real momentum over the winter. They extended their lead in the Premier League. They're miles ahead. I think they're going to... Sporting are good, right? Sporting Portugal, they're a very good team, but they're going to come up against... They're too impressive an opponent. You know, City are just too good at this, basically. They'll concede a goal, they'll still win. You know, how many will they score? The thing is, we don't even know. You know, the 500 passes is just going to give them such dominance, such control over the game. You know, and with the strikers, who pops up? Is it going to be Sterling comes to form? Is it going to be Ruben? Is it going to be Bernardo Silva? Is it going to be Phil Foden? Going to be maybe Jack Grealish surprise cameo? You know, they've got so many weapons. They're going to win this game. It's going to be dominant. But yeah, over 500 passes, maybe over 50% possession as well.
Yeah, bold tip. Yeah, it is difficult to see anything other than City going through, but they do give up a deceptively large amount of goals. That is a big part of it. And generally speaking, as you say, the names that you just reel off, they can outgun anyone, but you look at this maybe going into the quarters and going into the semis when they don't give up that many chances but they do concede goals, they might not get an opportunity to get outgunned. So probably one to watch a little bit further down the line. But City, beware, Sporting Lisbon are likely, according to this inevitables list, which, you know, feel free to disagree with us on, are likely to get a goal at home. Right, we're going to move on to the second game, and this is my favourite game to be looking forward to, but it's also my favourite inevitable. Jamie, we're going to go to you on this. PSG against Real Madrid, and it is all, for me, about one man, Mr. Messi, because Messi loves playing against Real Madrid. And to be honest, these are the nights, these are the games that PSG bought or brought Lionel Messi to the club for. So, Real Madrid fans, just close your ears for a second. Lionel Messi has 26 goals and 14 assists against Real Madrid in 45 games as a Barcelona player. They're his favourite opponent to play against. He hasn't played against anybody else more, and they're 5th on his personal to-score against list. Probably the most famous was back-to-back goals in the 2011 semi-finals, and then Barcelona obviously went on and beat United in the final in Wembley. And true to form, he's not exactly set Liga alight. PSG are flying, the 13 points clear as it stands, but in the Champions League, the little man from Rosario has stepped up 5-5. Obviously, that wonder goal against City in the group stages. And there's obviously numbers pushing this, but there's also a big, fat slice of narrative. These are the old enemy. These are the foes. It all just seems to be set up for Messi. He loves the last 16, the most last 16 goals in Champions League history, 29, 51 knockout stage goals, second only to Cristiano. If you believe in any sort of narrative, Jamie, Messi has to bang one in.
He does. And this is just, like you say, just such a good game, and obviously the tie of the round and all of those narratives you just mentioned make this just so exciting. I'm delighted we got 2 legs, and this is the Champions League at its best. Like you say, Messi just loves playing against Real Madrid from the very start of his Barcelona career. He's lit up El Clásicos, and we've just loved watching him in those big games. And this I think it could be a statement for him that he kind of. I know Barcelona have gone down a dodgy track themselves, but almost a statement for him that he hasn't taken a step back. So I think moving to PSG, you almost thought he's moving away from these big occasions in the league for the sake of taking them to the holy ground of the Champions League, what they want more than anything else. So I think winning this game against Real Madrid, proving it against these serial winners, can really kind of buck that statement that he almost wasted opportunities by moving away from La Liga into what I know is harsh to say, and sorry, Liga on fans, but to a smaller league where these occasions come up less frequently. So I think that could be a real statement for him if he turns up in this one. Like you say, hasn't really impressed as much in Ligue 1 altogether. I think 7 goals, 7 assists in 19 appearances across all competitions. But like you mentioned in the stats there, most of those goals have come, I think 5 of the 7 in the Champions League. So we know he turns up in these big games, but you have to flip to the other side. Real Madrid, how much experience have they got in these games? Carlo Ancelotti as well. They've got the most experienced man at the helm, man of experience of winning this competition, something PSG haven't done. And Real Madrid is certainly capable with the characters they've got, the David Alabas, and the experience throughout the squad. Obviously, Benzema may not be there for the first leg, but they know how to win these games. And we'll see what PSG, and other injury issues of their own, but they've got the talent. I think Real Madrid have got that experience, and that's another narrative in this really intriguing battle.
This is something that I wanted to quickly ask you, Jamie, before we move on to the third game, because Sergio Ramos leaving, ironically going to PSG, Rafa Varane going to Manchester United, that experience that runs right the way through the Real Madrid team, they still obviously have the 3 boys in midfield, Casemiro, Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. Benzema, if he's fit, if he's not fit, will still be around. Asensio has won huge amounts of Champions League titles. Courtois, even someone like Lucas Vazquez is included in the squad. But from the outside looking in at La Liga, how confident are you from watching Real Madrid this season that David Alaba and Eder Militao, who you'd imagine will partner together, can hold on to Messi, Neymar and Kylian Mbappe?
Yeah, I think so. We've been right up there. A bit of a dodgy start with an unsettled backline with injuries, but since you put Alaba and Militao together, they've really done some impressive work back there. And I think Ferland Mendy's back in full training this week. He looks like coming in. That'll be huge because it means Alaba won't have to be shifted to out wide. That would have probably meant that Nacho Fernandez comes into the middle, but that looks like it's going to be avoided now. They'll stick with the usual back four: Carvajal, Mendy, Militao and Alaba. And like I said, they're impressed so far this season. This is obviously one of the biggest tests they've had, especially given the lack of competition at the top in La Liga this season. They haven't had that sort of ultra-competitive Clásico. Atletico Madrid have been way off it. Sevilla, not quite at their level. So this will be the big test. So I don't think we can quite know what's coming, but on the face of it, that is a solid back four and one that we should be confident of dealing with PSG despite their talent.
See, I don't know how solid they are. I think they give up a lot of chance. I think Courtois has bailed them out an awful lot this season, and I worry how they're going to handle Mbappe. I mean, remember, this is Kylian Mbappe. This is not, with the greatest respect of it, considering he's got an amazing goal last night, Borja Iglesias, right? This is not, your average. It's not even Raul Thomas. This is Kylian Mbappe. He's got 203 goals and 97 assists in 314 games. He's 23 years old. Just baffling talent. There's a reason Real Madrid tried to pay 180 million for him in the summer when they could get him for free in a year. Like, he's incredible, I think. And him forget Neymar. Neymar is not even going to play. He's off in Carnival, whatever. having Mbappe dovetail with Messi, and Messi, who, as we've mentioned, loves to destroy Real Madrid, I think that's the combination. That's just going to destroy. That's going to destroy Real Madrid. That defense, Alaba's very good progressively with the ball. He's an amazing leader. He's a real good man. He's got real great mentality, but he leaves gaps behind him when he plays. You can run in behind him. Militao has shown to whatever opponent recently. Courtois has been amazing, so he might just bail them out anyway. But I would wager Messi and the combination of Messi and Mbappe. And if Verratti can hold his own, obviously Verratti's going to go up against that midfield. That midfield is boss. We know that in Champions League, those guys are great. Like Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro. So it depends how Verratti holds his own in there. With Idrissa Gueye, I'm assuming. I don't know who else Poch puts in there, but Poch also has a horrible record against Real Madrid. That's the other thing we have to consider. I mean, it was for Espanyol, but still had a horrible record against Real Madrid. So let's see. But Messi and Mbappe to me is just too dangerous. I don't think they can cope with that.
From a tie that's real two heavyweights just slugging it out to one that's maybe a little bit further down the call sheet, Mo, and that's RB Salzburg against Bayern Munich. Obviously, Bayern Munich 2020 winners. Nearly got my year wrong there. Yes, 2020 winners of the Champions League. And I've titled this little section of the inevitable in this game as Lewandowski to go wild in Austria. Lewandowski's been the main man in the Champions League this season. He's top of the shop across most stats, or second in the list. He's top for goals in all domestic competitions in Europe. 24 Bundesliga goals already, and we're only just into the second half of the campaign. He's second in the Champions League, just behind Sebastian Haller, which, in fairness to Haller, was probably based on those goal-crazy games that he had, but he is still edging Lewandowski as it stands. And then when you break it down in some of the kind of tighter metrics, he's second for goals across 90 minutes, 1.58 goals per game. So he's basically there or thereabouts in behind Haller, and he basically is as close to a guaranteed goal, or maybe even 2 goals, as you can get this season. Currently, in terms of active Champions League goal scorers, he's top 82, in behind obviously the two boys, Ronaldo and Messi. He's leading Benzema, and he's got 14 last 16 goals. There's an argument that Bayern have never been as reliant on him as they are now, because it is a slightly aging squad. There is some transition in certain positions. And you look at his figures compared to some of his teammates, he's got double the amount of Champions League goals of any other player and 14 more than his next in the Bundesliga, and that's Serge Gnabry. And then when you just try, I'm just reeling off these numbers here. He scored in 6 of his last 7 Champions League knockout games, the epitome of a big game player. But the one game that he didn't score was the 2020 final. So he is a big game player, as much as we don't like that as a cliche. He is. And Bayern are arguably on his shoulders more than ever.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say? He's amazing. He's an amazing footballer. He deservedly won the best striker in Europe award, best UEFA striker award. Didn't deserve the Ballon d'Or. Sorry if anyone was still is hung up on that. Didn't deserve it. Shouldn't have won the best either, because he wasn't the best. But great goal scorer, fantastic. One of the best out there right now. Now that Cristiano has fallen off, the best goal scorer out there, Robert Lewandowski. No questions about that. Absolutely world class. But you know, my prediction it's not going to be Lewandowski, because that's boring. Because everyone knows, he's going to score a goal. I think Bayern are going to keep a clean sheet. I think that's the thing to look out for in this game. Obviously, Lewandowski probably is going to score, because he just does all the time. But Bayern kept 3 straight clean sheets, basically qualified from the group as a result of their thing. And then they let in a couple of goals, 2 goals against Benfica in a home game, and they let in a goal against Dinamo Kiev. And then again, they had to keep a clean sheet against Barcelona to shut them down, to make sure that Barca didn't qualify. Julian Nagelsmann was not interested in letting them, have a freebie. He put out a strong team and he beat them and kept a clean sheet again. Bayern are obviously, they're sensational going forward, but they're also quite solid at the back with Manuel Neuer. Now they've got rid of Alaba, they've got Niklas Schüller, David Upamecano. They've got a solid defence as well. So I would suspect they will not only pummel poor Salzburg into the ground, because I mean, look, you can buy penalties out of Karim Adeyemi is very good at buying penalties, very good at winning penalties, but against the Bayern defenders, it's not going to be as easy. Lewandowski is too nice, too good up front, but I think Bayern are going to keep a clean sheet. I think they're going to shut Salzburg down completely. I think it's going to be absolutely like 6-7-0 over the 2 legs, probably. But the nil is going to be the key part, because Bayern are going to gear up. They're gearing up for another Champions League run. They want that Champions League. And they know that the most important thing you can do is not concede goals, because they will always score goals. Bayern will always score. They've got too much firepower not to. Can they not concede as well? That's the key. And I think they will get that right starting in this game.
Yeah, this looks like almost one of the most open shut games in the last 16. And just as a quick heads up, we're going to be previewing this game in a bit more detail, talking about how you can or probably can't stop Bayern Munich in the Champions League next season. Myself, Mo, and Jasmine Barber are going to be chatting about that on next week's podcast. So make sure you check that out if you are a Bundesliga fan or if you just want to get the inside track on Bayern Munich. Right, we're going to move on to the fourth game and the last one before we take a quick break. Jamie, Inter Milan against Liverpool. The boys. The Klopp's boys are back in town. Mo Salah is back in training. There was talk in Liverpool that he knocked on the groundskeeper's door to get the keys off him so he could go in and get a few extra laps under his belt. Can't confirm that, but I'd love to know if that is actually true. Sadio Mane was on the last flight out. I hope it's true. And the type of character he is, it probably is true. Mane was on the last flight out of Senegal. Obviously, he was given a bit of extra time to have a party with his teammates and present his trophy to his country. Brilliant stuff for him. But they're back now for Liverpool, and they're back in business for their club. And Mo Salah and Sadio Mane will be itching to get started. Just looking at some of the numbers, we know that Salah has been incredible for Liverpool so far this season. He's top for goals. He's top for goals per 90 minutes. He's top for goals and assists. He's top for goals and assists per 90 minutes. Just to reel them off, 16 goals, 0.81 goals per 90 minutes, 25 combined goal and assist, and 1.26 for goals and assists per 90 minutes. Absolutely mad in terms of metrics. And Mane's not too far behind him, 10.3 in terms of goals. That's only bettered by Salah and Diogo Jota, who's going to be alongside them. One of Salah or Mane, and we know they've been so synonymous with Liverpool's success, but one of the best stats that I've managed to dig out is that one or both of Salah and Mane have scored in 10 of Liverpool's last Champions League games in 11 outings. Incredible stuff as a partnership, incredible on their own. If they're ready, if they're back, if they're rested, Liverpool could go to town here.
Yeah, they certainly got the capability of doing that. Obviously, they come back, Salah and Mane, different experiences in the end of AFCON. So it's a bit of difficult conversations perhaps when they got back to base. But yeah, you just mentioned all the stats there, just unstoppable on their day, and it makes Liverpool contenders even when they're not at their best. You know, it's just difficult to bet against these two players. Inter, we saw them hang around a little bit against Real Madrid in the group stages. They lost 1-0 and then 2-0. They were certainly much better in the first game. I've been quite impressed with Inter, really, how they've responded. You know, lost a manager, some financial issues as well, but it's, you know, top of Serie A, their second best defensive record in the league. And you'd think this really is about Liverpool. They need to put Inter to the soul, I feel, and they certainly got the ability to do that with Mane, Salah, Jota, whoever it may be. They've got the capability of doing it. But I do feel if they let Inter get behind the ball, they let Inter catch their breath in those key areas, Inter are good enough to at least frustrate them and take this game deep into the second leg. But like I say, the most likely thing is that Liverpool put them to bed. But I think they have to take this to Inter very early in the tie. And if they do, that'll be the key to them taking all 3 points. And we mentioned, I say all 3 points, but going through to the next stage, we mentioned Salah and Mane come back as well. You know, Liverpool, I think, have scored 3 or more goals in the last three of the last 4 games, and that was without them. So this is a good team anyway, but you add them back and it makes Liverpool huge favourites here.
Yeah, Liverpool are very scary, but I want to give one bit of advice to everyone who's watching out. Edin Dzeko has scored in his last 3 games against Liverpool. Once for Man City in 2015, and then either leg of the 2018 semi-final when Liverpool beat them. Liverpool smashed Roma, but Dzeko scored in its legs. So keep an eye out. I predict Dzeko is going to score in one or both of these legs, probably both. I don't think Inter will win. I think they will be outgunned. Much as I would love it if they could win, I think they will find themselves to be very much outgunned by Liverpool's forward line, as Jamie says. But keep an eye on Dzeko. I think Liverpool's defence isn't as solid as it has been in previous years. We've seen that Griezmann put Van Dijk in a blender, and that's Griezmann. So, but keep an eye on Dzeko. I think he's gonna get a goal or two in this tie.